I'll be the happiest person you've ever seen, actually.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when I was a child, I remember a teacher saying to me, Bailey, you are one of the happiest people. I don't think I've ever seen you without a smile on your face. And that's who I was as a child. Like, I was that happy person. I was that outgoing person, the person that, wanted to be friends, not just with one group, but I wanted to be friends with everybody. And I wanted to have a little piece of everybody's little group. And that wasn't me anymore. I lost it. And I can't blame having children. It takes a little piece of you when you have children, and you're never going to be that person ever again from before you had kids, ever.
Yeah, because it
you're
changes.
Never gonna be that person.
Yeah.
And you just have to figure out a way to fill in that gap that kind of was removed. And that's where my journey began, was filling in that gap. And so I decided I was going to start, doing a lot of different things to improve my life, a lot of self-development things to improve my life. But I had never done that before. And the first step for me was spending money on myself. Like, I'd never really bought a course for myself. I'd never bought a program. I really never bought a book. Like, I didn't go out and buy clothes. I remember my husband saying to me, you can go buy a new bra, right? Like,
well, we obviously haven't met in a previous life, Bailey.
What's that?
I said we haven't met in a previous life, because if you'd have been my friend 10 years ago, you'd have probably had 10 new bras every month. I'd have been phoning you. Come on, it's shopping time. Yeah.
That, it just wasn't me. It was like, I would rather give to somebody else, like my children or my husband or whoever, before treating myself. And there's many, many people that can relate to that now. Yeah. And I know that because I have clients just like that. And they know that, I use the airplane analogy that when you get on the airplane, what's the first thing the steward and stewardesses say to you is, if the cabin loses pressure, an oxygen mask is going to drop. And you want to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on your kids or your elderly mother or whoever. Mm-hmm. Because if you can't breathe and you're on the ground, passed out, you can't help anybody.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I'm really glad that, I'm so happy to hear that your first point was to spend on yourself and do something for yourself. I'm surprised to hear that as a first point, but I like it. I think it's an important point. Yeah. To commend yourself and celebrate and just congratulate yourself.
There was two things that I did that was the beginning factor for me to really have this shift in my life. And the first thing was after having kids, I had gained a lot of weight, and I was in the mindset then, and my mindset has changed dramatically. So hear me out on this one.
Okay.
I was in the mindset then that if I was skinny, I'd be happy. And so I thought, if I lose this weight that I've put on, and we're talking weight, Sarah, like over 50 pounds.
Okay, so you looked very different to before the pregnancy then, so you could feel it.
Yeah. So like when I got married, here, a little side tidbit is I got married when I was 20, so I was a baby. Yeah. From the time that I got married to the time that I had my first child, I was almost 50 pounds heavier. And that was only within 3 years.
Oh, okay.
So it was a very dramatic change for me to go from one extreme to the other. So obviously, there's lots of people out there too that believe that if they could be slimmer, fitter, stronger, whatever, they would be happier. And so I also had that mindset. And I thought, if I join this fitness program and I lose weight, then that'll really help me to be happy. And the most amazing thing happened because, first of all, I spent the money and bought the program. It was like $300, which was unheard of for me to spend on myself.
Okay.
Bought the program and joined, and it was an all online. So there was a fitness side to it and a nutrition side, and everything that I could do for fitness I was able to do in my home. I didn't go to a gym or anything like that.
Good.
And then the nutrition, it was all very easy. Like, it really, really simple. It was all macronutrient dieting. Like, I don't want to call it dieting. It was just eating your proper macronutrients. Yeah,
that's right. Just getting getting everything you need. Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
And so it went from me thinking, "Ooh, I'm going to lose all this weight," to the actual reality happened that I became a healthier version of myself because I got the knowledge that I needed to be able to take care of myself. I got the knowledge that said, hey, if you want to thrive during your day, this is how many fats, proteins, and carbs your body needs for fuel. I didn't know any of that before. Honestly, I counted calories if I decided I wanted to lose weight. And it never worked for me. But putting it into a different perspective as, hey, your body needs fuel to run. It's kind of like a car. And if you give it good fuel, it runs really well. And if you give it bad fuel, it kind of doesn't work well. And it was a very big shift for me to have that realization.
But you could feel a difference, couldn't you? When you started looking at macros and how it gave you energy and different things, you probably felt, in 2 weeks, you probably felt better even in those 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I remember it because, and I'm going to get into that other part too, the 2 weeks. Yeah. Because that's interesting you say 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks you can see a difference, feel a difference.
Yeah, and it just made me, I was eating a lot more, for one thing.
Good.
Because I'm this person that if I don't think consciously about eating, I'll just go without. I won't eat. And then at the end of the day, I'll be like, all of the carbs in this town are going in my mouth.
Yes, because you're so hungry at that point.
Because I get so hungry, but I don't remember to eat. I'll drink coffee all day and not remember. So it's something that I still struggle with, and I have to be very aware that I need to eat. And that's part of fueling your body. So there was that part of it that, you know, it wasn't about losing weight for me at that point, but the side effects of me gaining all this knowledge was that I started to lose weight. And then the exercise part was kind of just the cherry on top to feel stronger and want to be more active. And, you know, it was that snowball effect of you start drinking more water and then you feel so good that you want to go for more walks. And then you feel so good that you want to start running. And it just became this snowball effect of I feel really good all the time.
Good.
So the 2 week thing, what I was going to say about that is the second thing that I did for myself when I decided I was going to start spending money on myself was that I bought a ticket to a live event, just like the live event that you and I met at.
Yes. Okay.
Very similar idea.
Yeah.
And that was my very first personal development event. And it's kind of where my business side all got started. So that event was on January 17th. I started my fitness program on January 1st. 17 days. I remember thinking when I was at that event, I remember being in the hotel room with my best friend, standing there being like, I feel so good.
In 17 days.
17 days.
Yeah, from sticking to something. Yes, amazing.
Yeah. And I'm not here to preach that it takes 17 days
to
create a habit.
It doesn't. No. It just takes consistency. So you were consistent for 17 days, following the rules, following what you had to do, not feeling starving and hungry and moody, just feeling that little bit more energy and a bit more confidence in your day. No, I think it does. It takes more than 14 days. 7 days is not enough to feel a difference. That's just, you're just getting going then.
It could have been sooner. I just specifically remember being at that event and being like, I feel so good.
Good. Yes. Yeah. Great timing for you then.
And that feeling, you know, whatever you feed grows. If you feed that feeling, that is going to grow like a flower and let it happen. Right?
Yes.
Whereas if you feed that negative, yucky, I'm so fat, I hate my body, I hate myself, I hate my life. I can't even say those words. It actually physically hurt me to just say that. Mm-hmm. But if you use those, you know, that kind of language and that kind of attitude, that's what's going to grow. So you have to feed the positive. And I mean, you are like,
oh, I love that. When you say positive, I'm like, oh yes, there's my word. There it is. That's it. That's my core value right there. Yes. Yeah.
So that was kind of what got me started. I started investing in myself, and you know, and you don't even have to invest financially. There's lots of ways that you can invest in yourself that are free. For example, how about start listening to podcasts? You know, start going to your library and renting self-help books, personal development books, and don't be afraid of the term self-help. It's helping you become your better self.
Yes, I know.
It's not a bad thing.
people don't like the judgment of that, because then it looks like if you're doing self-help, then you don't like who you are. But it's not about not liking. It's just about the improvement side. It's that you like it. You just want to do a bit more. So no, I wish it would have less of a stigma on the self-help section. People are almost embarrassed to be in that section. So, they need to go in there and find things.
That was another thing that year. So I said this was in January. That year I started reading, and I hadn't read since I was in school. And I don't even think I read in school. Like, I'm sure I just copied off of somebody else because I was not into reading.
You were too busy making friends, Bailey, and walking around smiling at everybody. Weren't you?
I was like, yes. I was very happy all the time and friendly and fun.
Walking around, no work, all friendships.
Yeah. And, I started reading, and once again, the more I fed that reading goal and, that feeling, the more I wanted to learn, the more I wanted to grow. And it was like I had a problem. I quit watching TV and I just read all the time. I haven't had, I haven't been a TV watcher since that year.
Good.
And once again, a side note, I remember pulling out my goal list that we wrote at that conference. And on the goal list, it said, watch only 2 hours of TV per night. I was watching more than that.
Wow. I thought you were going to say per week then.
No, per night. And that's what
that was a cutback for you then back then.
I look back at that and think, what the hell was I doing watching more than 2 hours of TV per night?
Yeah.
What was happening there? And it just makes you laugh that was my goal. That's what my goal was. But that's where I was in that moment.
It was, because you couldn't have thought of not ever watching any TV. I'm with you on the no TV thing. I hardly watch any television things. I stopped watching Netflix last year consistently at the beginning of a year ago. I thought unless it was a documentary type thing or a motivational type thing or something that offered me value to do something, I didn't watch it. And there were some shows I'd started to watch previously that I now have not even caught up with in the last year because they offer no value to me. I know it's leisurely, but I find other things to do leisurely. So and I've not missed them.
I often say this to my clients too. And I watch Netflix. I will. If there's something on like Suits, I loved Suits. I've watched all that.
I've watched all of Suits. I'll give you that because they haven't got anything new out now.
You go in stages, right, of watching them, but it's not a consistent thing for me. Mm-hmm. And I often say to my clients, I had a client the other day, she was saying, I can't get off my phone. And I go from one social media app to the next, and I can't seem to put it down, and it makes me not be able to sleep at night and all these things. And I said to her, okay, so the next time you are on your phone, I want you to consider your goals in life and say to yourself out loud, is what I'm doing right now helping me get closer to reaching my goals? And if the answer is anything other than yes, shut it down. Because the minute you kind of step out of your body and look back at yourself and say, hey, is this taking you closer to your goals right now? And you have that, self-revelation of, no, it's really not. So why am I doing this?
Yeah, it's great that you're putting it out there to people. It does. How does it benefit you in the long run? That's how I've become about different things. Does this serve me? No, it doesn't. So I'm not doing it. It doesn't mean you didn't like doing it before. It just means it doesn't serve you now to do. So if you look back at that goal where you said cut down to 2 hours a night, you never would have thought that you would cut it down to minutes a week instead. Like if the new season of Suits comes out, we've got to allow our time. We've got to allow our time. We've got to allow our time. We need to know what they're going to do with Rachel now, don't we?
Obviously.
Like Rachel's loyal to Mike. Like we need to know what happened. We know what's happened in her real life, but we still need to know what happens in the office.
Like, no, you can't do that.
No, you can't just take her out. So I can't miss how they explain that Rachel's living in Kensington Palace. I don't know how they're going to change that. So something like that for a special occasion, I'm willing to get I'm willing to sit down for that. Or I actually walk around watching Netflix or when I'm cleaning, or I watch it on the elliptical in the gym. So I actually put it on a screen. I put it on the screen as well. So no, I think when Suits comes out, we're allowed that little.
I think we are.
Little call card there. Yes.
Getting back to the book thing, and you just gave me an idea when you said about walking around. There became a time in my life where I was running my kids back and forth. I didn't live very close to the school as we do now. So I was driving them 20 minutes 2 times a day. back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then often 3 times a day if they had activities or whatever. And people will say to me, oh, I want to get reading, but I don't have time for that.